welcome back. Today we're going to do risotto with my friend Nick here.
Chef, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Have you ever made risotto before?
I have. Not so successful, so I'm happy to learn from a chef like yourself.
Oh, great.
Yeah, let's get started.
Great. So we're going to start with getting what we call mise en place together. So mise en place is just getting all your ingredients together. So we've got some cremini mushrooms. This is a shallot. So we're going to start with peeling and mincing these. Getting these things ready.
Perfect. What's the difference between using like a shallot instead of like a yellow onion or something like that?
Those shallots have a little bit more of a garlicky kind of flavor,
Okay.
even though we're still going to add garlic to it. It's a little sweeter too.
Okay.
Like that. This is easier to peel it when you give it a little smack down like that. You've probably done that before.
Yeah, I used to actually like run them under water and try to like peel them off that way. And yeah, a couple of YouTube videos really taught me the right way.
Always use a sharp knife.
Yeah, definitely.
You know why they say sharp knives aren't as dangerous as a dull knife?
Yeah, because it's just a clean slice, right? Instead of a
That's right.
like
Instead
a
of
jagged
kind of
edge.
like trying to shove the knife through the shallot.
Yeah, I used to have a bad time with sharpening my knives, and I would have that like problem, especially with like large items like potatoes and stuff like that, like trying to get through. It would be a little horrendous.
And even with that, I mean, a lot of people, you know, if you're cutting potatoes or something that's more rounded, then you just typically trim off the edge of it, so it kind of lays flat. It makes it much easier to get a good handle on it and not cut your fingers off.
Yeah,
because it wants to roll on you.
I was doing like one of the like put it in place and kind of like get the rest of it down.
down.
So yeah, it was a little dangerous for sure.
That it is. Another thing I like to do when I'm doing garlic, especially cloves, is this little tip piece.
Okay.
It's a little bit bitter, so I usually just trim the little end of that off of there.
It's good to know.
A couple different ways. I usually do a rough chop on this.
Okay.
And then I can kind of turn this into a paste by using the flat edge of my blade, which I'll show you here momentarily.
Huh.
It's kind of like this here. Kind of like start pressing it.
Oh, okay.
See how it's starting to smooth out a little bit?
Interesting.
So that, not an absolutely necessary, but if you want to, it can be a little chunkier or stuff like that. You could do roasted garlic. You could put this in oil, cook it really slow in the oven. Gives it a little bit of different flavor.
And with risotto, I'm assuming you want like kind of your items a little bit more smaller so that when you're sauteing them, they kind of break down a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's correct. We are going to get over to the range now. Get this kind of warmed up. This is extra virgin olive oil.
And is there a difference between using like extra virgin versus virgin?
This is going to have a little bit more robust flavor to it. Depending on what you're really trying to achieve at the final outcome. You could even use canola or sesame oil. If you were doing something Asian, you could do that. Sunflower.
Yeah, I've always wondered the difference because I have had both, and I'm just like, flip the coin today, you know?
Yeah, sure. Sunflower oil. There's just a bunch of different stuff. Grapeseed oil has a high flash point. While we're sauteing that, I'm going to go ahead and add the rice. We're going to toast this rice up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a little bit nuttier flavor.
And it just brings out a new flavor when you're roasting it and stuff like that?
Yep, gives it a little toastiness.
Nice.
Going to use the wooden spoon.
And I always use like wooden and metal. It doesn't really matter. Is there like a specific reason that you would use like wooden or metal?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because yes, there is. Because wood has such more of a porous surface space. What it's going to do, particularly when we start adding the liquid, is it removes the outer starches a lot better than something that's a really, really smooth surface.
Okay.
So as you do it, it'll release the surface starches, which makes a much creamier final product.
More you know.
There you go. Said you're going to learn today.
yeah, I'm definitely learning.
I'm going to add the garlic in at this point because now I've got my rice kind of where I want that.
Perfect.
Put that in there. I'm going to get this going because I want to get these mushrooms cranked up. When I do the sauteing the mushrooms, I want that pan really, really hot because I want to get a really nice caramelization on it.
Gotcha.
Again, that kind of changes the flavor. If you put it in cold pan, what happens is all the water will release out of the mushrooms. You won't get that really nice seared flavor.
That's good to know. I have noticed like sometimes when I'm cooking like vegetables or something like that, if the pan isn't hot before and you're kind of like bringing it up to temperature, it'll kind of like excrete water in the pan, and you kind of get like sogginess and stuff like
That's
that.
exactly it. So here we are about ready to put our first addition. And I say first addition because we're going to do multiple additions of liquid into the rice.
Okay. Good sound.
Oh, nice. And I did turn the heat down slightly.
Okay.
So you want to add small amounts at a time so that the rice can absorb. And here's where we're going to just kind of babysit this thing.
All right.
Kind of stir it up a little.
Yeah.
Keep stirring it. As I mentioned, as you stir it, it's going to start brushing the starches out of the external piece of this, or the external grains. So it'll cream it out a little bit. And as this is cooking, we'll add a little bit more liquid, probably about 6 different additions, a little at a time, because you don't want it just sogging out, because it's much easier to control the doneness.
Yeah, is risotto something you can like cook in like a rice cooker or anything like that, or you kind of have to like have very careful attention to it?
Yeah, it needs a lot of attention.
Gotcha.
It's like constant stirring. You don't want it to stick to the bottom, because that's going to break it up, break up the rice grains. So just a little bit of stirring, a little at a time. I'm going to get a little bit of olive oil in that pan for the mushrooms, because that should be pretty hot. So we're going to do that second addition. As you see, the rice will absorb the liquid fairly quickly, obviously depending on the temperature that we're using. So we want to keep that slower the longer it's going to take. Typically, risotto should cook into about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how far down it's cooked. Obviously, temperature is a big factor, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take these. So a single layer, again, for the same purposes I just mentioned, right? Single layer, so you get a really nice toastiness on it. If you put too much in the pan, the top's going to do exactly what we had already discussed.
Yeah.
Just release a bunch of water. Season those.
And is this like something that you kind of want to leave and like let rest a little bit, or are you constantly like kind of?
This here, I want to let it hang out so it gets really nice and brown on each side. So we're going to let it sit there for a few minutes and let it do its thing.
Perfect.
See,
I could already start to like smell everything. It's starting. The aromas are coming up.
absolutely.
Especially in this, like I could kind of smell the garlic and stuff like that.
Sure. Smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
We need to invent smell-o-vision.
Yeah. Trademark it.
Yeah. We wouldn't have to work. Another addition.
It does absorb the liquid pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, yeah. Yep. I always mess around with people that are typically newer at this. I'm like, you have to stir this clockwise only.
You would have got me. You would have totally got me. I would have been like, oh, okay. Like, chef says so. I'm like, all right.
I'm gonna do that. We were actually at a friend's house this last week at a ski trip, and I told them the same thing. They're like, what? Never heard that before. Whoa. See how it's starting to get nice and brown on there?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
I just saw like all the flames come out from this. Is that like something like you like try for when you're cooking specific things, or that kind of just like happens?
That's a little bit of oil hitting that flame.
Oh.
So that's where that came from. No, because typically when you start doing that, we'll start getting a little bit of smoke in the house.
Okay. I guess this is what the benefits of having one of these is.
And this particular hood here is like really quiet. They have the adjustable fan speeds.
Oh, wow.
And, they've came a long way with the technology on that.
Very nice. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people in their homes, they use the microwaves, but I guess when you're cooking like high heat like this and stuff like that and constantly sauteing, you need something a little bit more powerful.
Yeah. Unless you want to deal with the smoke alarm going off.
Yeah, usually it's an open the back door kind of thing.
Yeah, all the doors with a fan it.
And then you have the fans just going around the house. Yeah.
Start looking good.
Yeah, it's starting to definitely get a lot creamier than
Yeah.
just a few minutes ago.
And it's also absorbing and doubling in size. So when you start off with make sure we have the right size pan.
Yeah.
This will fill the pan up pretty nicely once it's finished.
That's constantly a problem that I have when I'm cooking in the kitchen. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to do a mid change, and then the pot is not warm at all, so you're just going into something that's basically the complete opposite temperature.
Yep. Well, you want to keep a good steady temperature too.
Yeah.
And that's almost anything you're cooking. See how it's starting to absorb all that. Do another addition. Again, small additions.
And so like typically how you kind of just like eyeball it, like you kind of just see like where the creaminess is at, and
We'll do a test here in probably another few minutes, and I'll kind of give you an example of what we're looking for with that is we'll do a rice test.
yeah, because I've noticed no measuring cups have been used today at all.
Oops.
When you're doing it as long as you have them.
But this really is more of a feel and
Yeah.
a feel type of thing. I mean, it's a lot of people think it's an intimidating dish to cook. But
Yeah.
it's really pretty simple. You just got to watch the rice and don't try to rush and put all
Yeah.
the liquid in at one time. You mention rice cooker. Can't really watch it. It's just going to turn into a ball.
Oh, okay.
So this particular grain of rice has to be stirred, and again, as we talked about, why does it get creamy? It's because you're releasing all the outer starches.
Yeah. It's definitely not for the impatient.
It takes a little patience, but I mean the outcome is always amazing.
Yeah.
So patience is a virtue.
Yeah.
I don't possess it, but
I mean, neither do I. I'm constantly cooking, but most of the time when I'm cooking, I'm like over here, and I'm like over here, and I'm like, I don't have any time for patience because I'm constantly just moving.
doing something. If you're doing multiple dishes, like this typically is a starter course. If we're in Italy, this would be kind of like your starter course.
Okay.
So you're not doing chicken breast and this and
Yeah,
6 different
yeah.
things. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what I was talking about as a
Okay.
rice doneness. So we'll put a couple grains on here. All I'm going to do is kind of just press it. See how it's kind of still chunky?
Yeah.
Maybe not quite.
You kind of almost want it to come out complete, kind of like paste.
A little bit smoother, so it's still a little grainy and chunky. See what I mean?
Okay.
So that's what I was referring to when I was saying we'll do a check, we'll do a
Yeah.
test. It's getting close. We're probably about 5 minutes out on
Perfect.
that. This is a little bit of white wine.
Perfect.
I'm going to put that in now because I know that I'm going to still need to add a little bit more broth,
Okay.
but I want that flavor profile in there.
What's the difference between, I guess, like adding in wine earlier in the stage versus like later? Does it get like more bitter or anything like that?
No, I just want to add a little bit. I mean, you want to obviously cook the alcohol out of it anyway, so that's the biggest thing is adding, when you do add it, you could add it a little bit earlier.
Okay.
I think this just doesn't concentrate the flavors as much.
Gotcha.
If you can see, it's starting to cream. It's still a little bit dry. I'm going to add a little bit more, but it's absorbing this
Yeah.
liquid really quickly.
Yeah.
Probably a couple more additions, and we're going to be pretty darn close to it.
Perfect. Yeah, I feel like it absorbed it like pretty quick on that last one.
Yeah. And that was the wine. I added the wine in there, sucked it right
Yeah,
up.
that's what I was.
I think
that's
it
what I
was.
thinking.
I think it was thirsty.
It was. It was. He can't help himself, man.
Who doesn't like a little bit of wine with your risotto?
That's what I'm saying.
All right, if you want to give this a couple of stirs here,
Okay, yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
get over to the herbage,
Yeah.
get this kind of ready. And what we're using, Nick, for herbs is just an Italian flat leaf parsley and a little bit of fresh thyme.
Perfect.
Are you stirring that clockwise?
Oops.
We talked about this already.
I actually am stirring it clockwise, but I've been switching hands, so I think that I keep like going in the other direction.
It's all right.
I think it's just a natural thing, you know.
No, it's all right. I'm just teasing you.
Are you a natural clockwise stirrer or a natural counterclockwise, or you kind of just go with the boat?
I kind of just go with the flow. You didn't know I was going to put you to work today.
Yeah, no, I expected a little bit of work, but honestly, you were doing this for like 20 minutes, just talking very casually, and I've only been doing this for about 2 minutes, and I'm like, man, my arm's a little tired.
So we're going to do one more addition,
Okay.
then we're both going to give it a little taste. Said some people like it a little bit less, but it's really starting to cream out nicely right now, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to take the back seat now. You have it.
Yeah, enjoy.
So that spoon on the left is yours.
Okay.
I'm double dipping. Hope you don't mind.
No, yeah, go ahead.
It's hot enough. It'll kill any
Yeah,
germs.
yeah, that's right.
It'll kill the germs.
There's a little bit of wine in there as well.
Yeah, true. Almost.
Yeah, I agree.
A little crunchy. All right, you're fired.
Yeah.
Scoot over.
Man, only lasted a day.
Not even a full one.
No.
Definitely filled up that pan. You saw
Yeah,
what we saw.
yeah, we're definitely getting close.
saw
We're
what
definitely
we-
getting close here.
Saw what we started with.
I think we only have like about an inch and a half of room left.
Perfect.
You're like, add more.
Perfect. So even the broth is pretty much on money.
Yeah.
That wasn't done by design.
Oh, eye of the chef.
No, that was kind of a little luck there, but I'll take it.
Rather be lucky than good.
That's great. Sometimes it's better. So at this point, I'm going to put a couple of the mushrooms in there and let that release a little bit of flavor in there. Like I said, we'll keep a couple aside just for the top piece to garnish that off.
Perfect. I'm not gonna lie, chef. I didn't have any breakfast this morning, and I'm getting a little hungry.
This is enough for both of us.
Yeah. I think so. Just feeling how heavy it was when I was stirring that spoon, I was like, this is definitely like a 4 or 5 person meal.
It can be, like I said, but in Italy, this would be kind of like a starter,
Oh, okay.
right?
Almost like
think they call it-
like a salad or like a
Yeah, they call it primo.
primo.
Yeah, because it's primo.
Oh, I've heard of wine. It's like a primo amore.
Ah.
Is that like a beginner's wine?
Ooh, you know what? That's a good question. I do not know the answer
Yeah.
to that. I think you got me on one today. You got
I don't
me
know.
on-
I could be
thought
totally wrong.
I thought
I
I
could
was
be totally
educating you. What's happening here? All right, I'm going to give that another taste. You're going to give that another taste.
Let's see.
Oh, we're really close now.
Way creamier.
Yep. Really close now.
As I noticed before when we tried it, it was like kind of like a little bit stuck on your teeth a little bit when
Yeah.
you kind of chew into it, but now it's kind of like, it's like almost like mashing together in one and kind of just turning into like a cream.
Yeah, you just don't want it to be mushy because you still want to have a little bite, little bite to it.
This over here.
And they say al dente, so that's what we're looking for there. I'm going to add that last little tiny bit. We're going to go with a little bit of butter.
Okay.
It's about this. So here's your measurement for the day. That's about 1/4 of a cup.
Okay.
I didn't say this was a healthy dish. It was until
I feel like butter makes things taste good.
it
so.
was until just now. It was really healthy for you.
I when I first started like kind of getting into cooking, I would add like when I like watch videos online and stuff like that. Like a lot of chefs, they add like a lot of butter. It makes things taste good. It combines flavors. And so when I was cooking with friends, they're like, "Oh my God, you're using so much butter!" But it's like, it makes the dish, you know,
Mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Gives you a really nice mouthfeel, that really smooth.
And I imagine something like creamy like this, it just adds.
It's
It's
amazing.
perfect.
It really does, because exactly what I just said, that really creamy mouthfeel.
Yeah.
This is looking really beautiful.
Yeah, that looks great. It's almost like a mashed potatoes consistency, but like you can see like the texture still involved.
The individual grains are still, so it's not clumpy.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
nice and relaxed.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's supposed to be nice and relaxed. This is the herbs we talked about. So it's flat leaf parsley and thyme.
Nice. And you combine the two?
I did. I just chopped them together. Thyme is a little bit more stronger flavor, so I didn't put as much in there.
Okay.
So predominantly, probably about 3-to-1 parsley to fresh thyme.
Mm-hmm.
You see the colors, and when we talked about adding, why did we add it in the end?
Yeah.
You can see how nice and bright green that's going to stay.
Yeah.
So we're going to add our cheese now, because this is about ready to come off. I'm going to keep a little bit again for, oops, put that anywhere.
And does this kind of like the cheese at least like bring like more like kind of like thickness and consistency or?
Yeah, and obviously a little bit of saltiness. This is Parmesan, so it has a little bit of saltiness. As you mentioned, as you saw, I didn't add a ton of salt to this dish. Again, if you were going to use salted butter, unsalted is what I prefer. But you can actually start seeing the cheese, how it's melting.
Yeah.
You get a little stretchy.
Yeah.
So we're right there. Let's put this in a bowl so we can start eating.
Oh, yes, please. Wow.
I think this is a little bit more for 2 people.
Yeah.
I don't think we could knock this out. That's there. I get our mushrooms. I put the mushrooms on the top there. And this again is just to make it pretty.
Yeah.
A little bit more cheese.
This looks awesome.
And let's put a little bit more of our herbs around it.
Definitely using this this recipe next time I'm around.
And there you have it.
Well done. I couldn't have done it better myself.
You did do that.
I did a little bit of stirring. I'll take a little bit of
Take
credit.
some credit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's dig into this dish that took us about 25 minutes to cook.
I'm very excited. I'm a little anxious right now because I'm hungry. I'm ready to dig in. But cheers, man. Let's
All right,
go. Let's go.
Let's dig in. Got to get a big chunk of mushroom
Yeah.
on there too. Cheese, mushroom.
Oh, this is delicious. Oh my God. It's creamy. The cheese, you can really taste the Parmesan. And honestly, like the hint of pepper, it's pretty perfect. The mushroom too adds like the bit of the texture to it. But I think the time that we took to make this, it's like perfect because when I was making it before, it was like I said, when we were cooking, like it kind of gets stuck to your teeth. This is like right down your throat, almost like soup.
Super smooth.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed.
Thanks for making it.
No, my pleasure.